Somewhere in America right now, a guy just financed a brand new Toyota Highlander for $46,000 over 72 months. And 3 rows over from him at the same dealership, an SUV with a real luxury badge, heated leather, and a V6 that will run circles around that Highlander's maintenance schedule is sitting on a used lot for less than his down payment. He will never know it exists because he never looked past the Toyota badge everyone tells him is the safe choice. I am not here to tell you Toyota makes bad vehicles. They do not. But I am here to tell you that reliable and expensive are not the same word. And there are SUVs out there right now wearing luxury badges, built on proven bones, selling for pocket change because buyers assume premium means fragile. After 2 decades of putting these vehicles on the lift, I can tell you exactly which ones will outlast a brand new Highlander, while looking like you spent 3 times what you actually did. Let us count them down. Number 3, the 2013 to 2016 Buick Enclave with the 3.6-liter V6. I want you to picture the interior of a Buick Enclave for a second. Quilted leather seats, real wood trim accents, a quiet cabin that Consumer Reports has repeatedly praised for noise isolation that rivals vehicles costing twice as much. Now picture that same vehicle sitting on a used car lot for $9,000 to $11,000 with 90,000 to 110,000 miles on it. That is not a hypothetical. That is the current market. The Enclave rides on General Motors' Lambda platform, the same architecture underneath the GMC Acadia and Chevy Traverse. But Buick added sound deadening, upgraded materials, and a suspension tune focused entirely on comfort. Underneath the hood sits the 3.6-liter LFX V6, a direct-injected engine producing around 288 horsepower, depending on the model year. This is not General Motors' old high-feature V6, with the timing chain tensioner issues from the 2000s. The LFX is a substantially revised design that General Motors introduced starting in 2011, and it addressed the wear items that plagued earlier versions of this engine family. It runs a timing chain, not a belt, so there is no scheduled belt replacement lurking at 90,000 or 100,000 miles waiting to surprise you. RepairPal gives the Buick brand an above-average reliability score among mainstream manufacturers, and Enclave owners on forums routinely report crossing 150,000 to 200,000 miles with nothing beyond scheduled maintenance and the usual wear items like alternators and water pumps. Average annual repair costs for the Enclave come in noticeably lower than what you would pay to maintain a comparable Mercedes or Audi crossover. And parts are shared with the Acadia and Traverse, which means mechanics see this platform constantly, and parts are not hard to find or overpriced. A brand new Highlander in top trim will run you $48,000 or more before taxes and fees. A well-kept Enclave gets you the same 3-row seating, a quieter cabin by most reviewers' accounts, and a stronger V6 for roughly a fifth of that price. When you are shopping, check the timing chain tensioners on any Enclave built before the 2011 revision, since that generation is the one you want to avoid entirely. Stick with 2013 and newer for the updated LFX engine. Inspect the transmission for smooth shifting under load, since the 6-speed automatic paired with this engine can develop shudder if fluid changes were neglected. And a fluid and filter service runs around $200 to $250 and usually resolves it. Check the power liftgate motor, which is a known wear item on higher mileage examples and costs about $300 to $400 to replace if it fails. And look closely at the leather bolsters on the driver's seat, since that tells you more about how the vehicle was actually used than the odometer ever will. Who should buy this one? Families who want the Highlander's practicality with an interior that genuinely looks and feels like a luxury vehicle, and buyers who are tired of paying a premium for a badge when the underlying hardware is proven, shared, and cheap to service. Number 2. The 2011 to 2015 Lincoln MKX. This is the SUV I point to when someone tells me they want to look successful without actually spending like it. The MKX shares its platform with the Ford Edge, which means underneath the Lincoln badge you get the exact same bones as one of Ford's most dependable crossovers. wrapped in a nicer interior with more sound insulation and a longer feature list. The 2011 refresh brought a 3.7-liter Duratec 5.6, producing 305 horsepower, which is more power than a base Highlander offers, paired with a 6-speed automatic that Ford used across dozens of models for years. So technicians know this transmission inside and out. The engine runs a timing chain designed to last the life of the vehicle, and it is naturally aspirated. So there is no turbo lag, no turbo failure, and no forced induction complexity to worry about down the road. Repair Pal rates Lincoln reliability as above average for a luxury brand, and specifically notes that Lincoln's ownership costs tend to run lower than German competitors, because parts commonality with Ford keeps prices reasonable, and independent shops are comfortable working on them. A 2013 MKX with 90,000 to 110,000 miles typically sells for $10,000 to $13,000 right now. Compare that to a new Highlander XLE, which stickers north of $42,000 before you add a single option. You are looking at potentially saving $30,000 while getting a panoramic sunroof, a THX certified audio system, heated and cooled front seats, and an interior that most passengers will assume cost far more than it did. One detail that catches people off guard is the My Lincoln Touch infotainment system on 2011 and 2012 models, which had a reputation for being laggy and occasionally glitchy. Ford issued software updates that resolved most of the complaints, and by the 2013 model year, the system had matured considerably. So if infotainment responsiveness matters to you, lean toward 2013 through 2015. When shopping, check the water pump. Since the Duratec 5.6 in this generation has the water pump driven internally by the timing chain on some applications, which makes it a more involved job if it ever needs replacement. So ask for maintenance records and budget accordingly if it has not been done by 100,000 miles. Test the all-wheel drive system if the vehicle has it, by making slow, full lock turns in a parking lot and listening for binding or grinding. Inspect the leather seat heaters and cooled seat function, since these are common failure points as vehicles age and repairs can run a few $100s, depending on which component fails. And check the power tailgate struts, which weaken over time and are a cheap fix if caught early. Who should buy this one? Anyone who wants genuine luxury presence, strong V6 power, and Ford-level parts availability and repair costs. And anyone smart enough to realize a Lincoln badge on a Ford platform is one of the best value propositions in the entire used market. Number 1. The 2013 to 2016 Cadillac SRX with the 3.6-liter V6. I am putting this one at the top of the list because it might be the single most disrespected luxury SUV on the used market right now, and the numbers back that up completely. The SRX shares its Lambda-based platform architecture with the Buick Enclave we already talked about, but Cadillac tuned the suspension for a sportier feel and dressed the interior in genuine Cadillac styling, with available features like a heads-up display, adaptive cruise control, and a Bose premium audio system that most buyers assume only comes on vehicles costing $50,000 or more. Under the hood is that same 3.6-liter LFX V6, producing around 308 horsepower in the SRX application, running direct injection and a timing chain with no belt service to worry about. This engine family has been used across General Motors' lineup for over a decade, which means independent mechanics know it well. Parts are widely available, and diagnostic knowledge is not locked behind a dealership. RepairPal gives Cadillac an above-average reliability score for a luxury nameplate, and annual maintenance costs on the SRX consistently come in lower than comparable BMW X3 or Mercedes GLK models from the same era. Largely because General Motors' parts network is enormous, and labor rates at independent shops handling domestic platforms tend to run lower than what you will pay at a dedicated German specialist. Here is where it gets almost unfair. A 2014 SRX luxury collection with 80,000 to 100,000 miles is currently selling in the $11,000 to $14,000 range. A brand new Highlander Platinum trim, loaded with comparable features, will run you $52,000 or more. You are talking about a gap of nearly $40,000 for a vehicle that offers more standard luxury equipment, a more powerful V6, and a badge that signals success in a way a Highlander simply does not, regardless of how good the Highlander actually is underneath. The SRX did have a rough patch in its first generation, from 2004 to 2009, when it offered a troublesome 4.6-liter Northstar FIV8 with known head gasket and oil consumption issues. So avoid those years entirely. The second generation, which launched for 2010 and carried through 2016, ditched that engine completely in favor of a 4-cylinder turbo option and eventually standardized on the 3.6-liter V6 by 2012, which is the version you want. Stick with 2013 or newer to get the updated engine tuning and the more thoroughly sorted electronics. When inspecting one, check the timing chain tensioner history, since even the revised LFX can develop a rattle on cold start if the tensioners are worn, and replacement typically runs $600 to $900 at an independent shop. Look over the electronic parking brake for proper function, since this component can develop faults on higher mileage examples, and repairs can range from a simple actuator reset to a few $100s for a replacement module. Check the Bose subwoofer and infotainment Q system for responsiveness, since early Q systems had a reputation for touchscreen lag similar to what Lincoln dealt with, and this improved significantly with software updates in later years. And inspect the rear liftgate struts and any air suspension components if the vehicle is equipped with the optional setup, since worn struts and failing air components are common wear items that are worth negotiating on. Who should buy this one? Anyone who wants the strongest badge on this entire list, the most premium standard features, and a genuine V6 that General Motors has proven across millions of vehicles, all for a fraction of what a loaded new Highlander costs. Who should skip it? If you absolutely need 3-row seating, the SRX is a 5-seater only, so go back to the Enclave at number 3 instead. So there they are. 3 SUVs that will make people assume you spent real money, while your bank account tells a very different story. The Buick Enclave with a cabin that outclasses vehicles twice its price, and a revised V6 that finally fixed what older GM engines struggled with. The Lincoln MKX, proof that a Ford Edge underneath a nicer badge and a better interior is one of the smartest buys in the entire used luxury market. And the Cadillac SRX, the most disrespected luxury nameplate on used lots right now, offering more standard equipment and more power than a loaded new Highlander for a fraction of the price. You now know 3 SUVs that can sit in your driveway looking like a $50,000 purchase while actually costing what most people spend on a used sedan. If this kind of straight talk helps you shop smarter, hit subscribe. I have got more videos coming on the badges dealerships want you to overpay for versus the ones that actually deliver. Like if it helped. I will see you in the next one.